Welcome to Mspire Studio's very first episode. I am Macy, and today I will be sharing a story about starting over in your 30s, which I've done, and find out why someone who used to love paper planners, even created and designed them myself, completely shifted to using digital planners and journals today. A few years ago, my life looked completely different. I was living in the Philippines, working from home as a freelance copywriter and digital marketing specialist, running a stationery/printing business on the side, designing planners and journals, and building a creative life around paper, writing, and making dreams happen. I always thought I knew what my life would be like. I had a plan. But life rarely unfolds the way we imagine it. At 35, I found myself moving to Australia to pursue my biggest dream, to study abroad. And fortunately, I completed my master's in Sydney 2 years later at 37. Today, I'm 38, living in Sydney, rebuilding my life all over again with an iPad, digital planners and journals that I design myself with a coffee in one hand and a mix of confidence and a little uncertainty in the other. But honestly, I have a much deeper understanding of myself today, learning to trust myself, and have never been so creatively awake and inspired to put all those years of ideas into life. So maybe this video is less about productivity or planning, and more about what it means to begin again, because that's where I am. I've always loved planning, not in the hyper-productive, optimize every second of your life kind of way though, but because planning made me feel safe. It made me feel certain, creative, and hopeful. I used to run a stationery business back when I was still in the Philippines, designing planners and note cards, and things that help people organize their lives and help them create their dreams. And I genuinely loved it. There was just something very special about seeing your designs come to life in beautiful paper, the texture, the writing, the feeling of possibility when you open a fresh planner. I just loved packaging orders, and hearing back from happy customers always delighted me. But somewhere along the way, life started shifting again when I made the decision to move abroad. I could only carry 40 kilos of my entire life to Australia. When my family moved houses while I was in Sydney, they had no choice but to give most of my books away, and my journals, when I got home, are nowhere to be found. Honestly, it was painful, and I felt really helpless because I was very far. But I also realized that maybe it's time to let them go. Yet some of the things that I wrote in my journal back then still live on in me today. I wrote in my journal back in 2010 that one day it is my dream to design a planner. And maybe this is why I'm doing what I do today. Moving abroad at 35 to pursue my master's degree in Australia was both exciting and terrifying. There's something deeply humbling about starting over at this age. At uni, I found myself hanging out with people much younger than me. I made deep friendships and listened to numerous stories. I left my comfort zone and certainty back in the Philippines for a once-in-a-lifetime chance to pursue my wildest dream, live abroad, not really knowing what awaited me at the end of it. And there I was at 35, suddenly rebuilding my identity from scratch. New country, new routines, hobbies, new people, new fears, and also new dreams. Real reinvention is truly messy. Sometimes it looks like sitting alone in a park one quiet afternoon, wondering if you could stay in Australia after graduation. Sometimes it looks like applying for countless jobs and questioning your own worth. Sometimes it looks like grieving the life you thought you would have by now and never knowing if you'll ever really get there. But somewhere in the middle of all of that, I slowly found my way back to defining my identity again. And I never really stopped writing or journaling, only that this time I did it in a different form. And if I live these years of my life more mobile, moving between countries, I don't want to lose my writing ever again. So now I keep them with me wherever I go, on my iPad. Well, I guess I never really expected to become a digital planning person because I loved paper so much and I thought that paper is just irreplaceable. And in some ways, it still is. But during this season of my life, digital planning just became more than just productivity for me. It became my solace for creativity, where I found my clarity, and also it became a gentle space to reset whenever I needed to. Writing has always been how I express my feelings and thoughts whenever life gets overwhelming, but now I just do it in a digital format. And in recent years, my iPad gradually became this portable little life system where I could journal, reflect, organize my goals, plan, track habits, and create structure in my life. Not from a place of pressure, but from a place of support. And I think that's what I want this channel to be about. Not about hustle culture, not pretending we have everything figured out because that's just not realistic, but creating systems, routines, and environments that genuinely help us to feel more grounded. For me, the process of planning has never really been all about becoming the most productive person in the room, but it was more about being intentional, more self-aware, and more emotionally clear. I guess a lot of people right now are just overwhelmed. There's too much noise, too much comparison, and we don't need all of that. Sometimes we just need to be reminded that we don't really need a complete life overhaul. We just need a soft reset, one day at a time. I intend for the Mspire Studio channel to become a space for thoughtful reinvention, for personal growth that encourages being more intentional, for digital planning that supports wellness instead of pressure, and for anyone who wants to live more intentionally. Here, I want to talk about digital planning, creativity, wellness, and designing a life that enables you instead of hinders you. I wanted to share my journey of figuring things out in real time because maybe someone else out there is also feeling a little overwhelmed or feeling a little lost, but still hopeful. And if that's you, I hope this channel reminds you that you're not behind. You're just evolving. Thank you for being here at the beginning of this new chapter with me. And if you're also rebuilding your life, rediscovering yourself, or simply creating more peace in your everyday life, I'd love for you to stay. And maybe we can figure it out together. I'll see you in the next video.
Yeah.